Welcome back to my channel, guys. So I'm here with a new video. As you can see in the title, this video, sorry, I'm looking at a baby monitor of my son in his bed right now asleep. I thought he was moving. So I'm going to discuss breastfeeding with you guys because it is a very important subject to me. Something I take very seriously, and something I think that a lot of moms take seriously, or a lot have had. You know, everyone's had different experiences with breastfeeding, and I've had now 2.5 children, so I think I can give you guys some pointers, some insight, some anything, whatever, and you guys can give me feedback back too as well, because I'm about to have another baby, so who knows, I might do things a little different. So a little background: my first son, who is 5, I had him in 2011. I breastfed him for a total of about 4 months. I started supplementing formula into his diet within the first 2 months because my milk wasn't coming in the way I thought it was going to. I think it was more of I was trying to pump too early and I was not pumping enough. I just wasn't doing it right. So I had to start supplementing formula into his diet. My nipples got real raw then as well, so there was a lot of things that weren't going great for that first experience is breastfeeding. So then I know with my second son, I said I want to breastfeed him for the 6 months that they say you should breastfeed, and I want to do it right. So I started to look up. At this point, I was already getting into my natural hair, natural products, natural things. So I started to look up things that could naturally help me produce more milk and help me keep my supply up. So I actually ended up breastfeeding him for a year until he was about a year and a half. No, not a year and a half, but like 13 months around that time. And I had become pregnant when like 3 months before that or something like that. So I had to stop it because, you know, breastfeeding makes your uterus contract. So obviously, for safety reasons, I wanted to stop. But I was not supposed to go for a whole year. Okay, that wasn't the plan, but I definitely had a great supply of milk. I have still frozen milk left over that can be used for this baby, which is awesome. If you don't know, if you freeze your breast milk, it lasts for a year. So this stuff, the milk that I have pumped, is basically from like October and September, October. So since Sky will be born in June now, she will definitely be able to drink that milk that he wouldn't drink. The only thing with him was he wouldn't drink out of a bottle. So that's why that milk's in there. He would not drink out of a bottle, only mommy's boobs and regular food when it was time to introduce him to regular food. So that's why I ended up feeding him for that long and saving up that much milk, which is, then it was a con, but it's a pro now. But we're definitely going to do things a little different because ain't nobody tying me down again. So I have my notebook here. I wrote down basically tips on breastfeeding because I didn't want to leave anything out because breastfeeding has so many layers to it. So I want to make sure I got all my perspectives out because, you know, you forget things sometimes. So when you're first starting to breastfeed, you need to first try and make sure you're eating well. Now, this is something I struggle with still. I want to eat what I want to eat when I want to eat it, and I have, period. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I've always done that. So, do I always watch what I eat when I'm breastfeeding? No. But the best thing is to do that. So if you are more disciplined than I am, then please do that, okay? For the baby, for the sake of the baby, and for you. I'm going to try to do it this time with my daughter, but when you want a cheeseburger, you want a cheeseburger. You don't want not a cheeseburger, you know? So I'm definitely going to do that, but I'm going to try to incorporate other things because I'm also going to be trying to get back in shape. So I'm going to just try to push through. Okay? Latching. Now you want to make sure, I obviously can't demonstrate, But you want to make sure you're getting a good latch with your baby. I've heard of different issues when babies haven't latched immediately or they have trouble latching, and thank God I haven't had problems with latching. If anything, with JJ, I had him on a bad latch and I had to readjust it, but my babies never didn't just not latch. It was like give it, like right now. So you want to just make sure not just your nip, the tip of your nipples in their mouth, the whole thing, part of your areola, the whole thing. You want to make sure you get a good shove up in there, because that will cause you less pain, and that will also let the milk flow better, and that will keep your milk glands that are in your breast from getting backed up, which is very painful and which you don't want to go through. Then I would say, even if you are not going to breastfeed forever, or for at all during the pregnancy, or I mean not the pregnancy, since the infancy or whatever the case may be, I would suggest at least the first 3 days you breastfeed to get the colostrum out, because colostrum protects your children from sicknesses, because you know they don't have shots yet that early. They have, I think, 1 shot in the hospital, but no other shots. So you want to protect your children is the best way you can. So colostrum helps you do that, and it works from the inside. So you can, it's the clear stuff that comes out your breast before the milk comes in, which takes a couple of days. So I would say at least those 3 days in the hospital, you're sitting there anyway, you don't have anything to do, you're not going anywhere, people come to visit, feed that baby that colostrum, and then start supplementing the formula the day you're about to leave, or maybe the day you get home. You know, I'm definitely not against formula in any way. I think whatever works for you and your schedule and your baby is what you need to do, period. Okay? I do think breastfeeding is the best option. It's cheapest, but it is a tie down if you don't figure out the best way to get into a routine with it, to get it pumping and get it stored and get other people involved, because it can be a very just you and your baby kind of thing only. Okay, so you want to keep that in mind. But colostrum is definitely important. I know that for Sky, I plan on obviously I want to breastfeed her for the first 6 months, but I think I'm going to start supplementing formula within the first 3 or 4. And I think I'm going to go with, I know I'm going to go with the natural formula. I'm going to do some more research, but I think I'm going to go with the Honest formula, honest.com. I had that for JoJo. He wouldn't take it because he wouldn't drink out of a bottle. So we're definitely going to do that different with Sky. She will be drinking out of a bottle, whether she likes it or not. Do you hear that? She heard me. Okay, so I'm definitely going to, you know, lock that down. Establishing a milk flow is very, very important. Okay. I would suggest, because I did it 2 different ways. With JJ, I did not establish my milk flow in the first month, which caused me to have issues the next 3. Now, if you establish in that first month your milk flow, then you should be good. Now, the way that I found it was easiest to establish my milk flow with JoJo was to breastfeed him that first month exclusively. So no pumping, none of that. So with Sky, I plan on doing the same thing. However, I'm going to also be using the milk in the freezer to let Daddy fill in the holes. And I'm going to figure out how I'm going to make up for those times, because I don't feel like pumping helps you in the very, very, very beginning like that, because your breasts are still trying to get used to producing milk for the baby. And truth be told, a pump in a baby's mouth and the hormones and the stuff that's given off during the time of feeding is totally different. So having a baby on your boob for a whole month will extend your boob, like boom, we know this mouth, we know what's good. The breast pumping, like, okay, if you want me to, you get it? So I'm definitely going to be incorporating other ways of upping my milk supply during the times I do let Daddy take over when I need sleep, or, you know, anything like that. Yeah, but I'm going to share with you how to get your milk supply up with other things as well. So just keep watching. So pumping, like I just said, start about a month afterwards. If you start earlier, just be careful. Pay attention. Don't do it a lot. Do it, you know, if you're going to do it like after you breastfeed your baby. So, you know, I fed my baby. Now pump for like 15 minutes after. Even if nothing's coming out, that's helping your boobs know more needs to come. We need more. We need more. Okay? Do that afterwards. Okay? Now, for pumping through the rest of the time after that first month, you have to figure out when you want to pump. It really depends on your schedule. You know, some people wake up, because you know, they say like pump for daddy so he can feed the baby at night. But if you don't feed the baby at night, that messes with your milk supply. So it's almost like you have to be up anyway to either pump that milk out of your boobs, or your boobs are going to start producing a little less, or your boobs are going to get hard and full, your milk glands are going to hurt, and obviously you don't want that to happen. So you have to find the best way to do it. So I will always suggest right after breastfeeding your baby, to pump then. So say you're going to let daddy do a feeding at night. Say I wouldn't let him do the full night. So say the baby wakes up at 12. I'll get up at 12, breastfeed the baby. After the baby goes back to sleep, yes, you're going to be tired, I will probably pump. Okay? I put that in the freezer. Then for his feeding, say the baby wakes up 4 hours later, 4 o'clock in the morning, he can get a bottle out the freezer, out the refrigerator that I already set out, so it's prepared for daddy. He warms it up and he gives her that. You should still be good when you wake up a couple of hours later to either pump that milk out or to give it to her, or give it to your baby and then pump some more after that. You want to keep a constant flow of milk coming out, because that will keep your flow growing and that will keep it up to where it needs to be. So as your baby grows, your milk grows, and you can feed and supply the baby. Because I know the hardest feeling is feeling like you're not producing enough for the baby. Because I know I felt that way with JJ. I felt like I can't do it, like what I'm doing. So that's why JoJo went so hard, and I went so hard, I ended up doing it for a year. Not this time. But that's besides the point. So these are the ways I increased my milk flow. Okay? Come in close. Listen. Number 1, expressing milk from your breast. When you're in the shower, this is a good time to just express your breast. You can't show you, obviously. Would be... But you just want to, you know, do the whole thing with just massaging your boob and just massaging some milk out. You don't have to do it long. I would do a couple of drops every time I got in the shower. I did that, and that kept my milk keep going. Yeah, if you notice, a lot of times when you get out the shower anyway, your boobs leak anyway. So why not, while you're in the shower, express a little bit for a couple of seconds, drop a couple of drops, boom. You just increase your milk flow a little bit. Okay? Next, oatmeal. I would say natural oatmeal. With JJ, I ate regular oatmeal, and it did help. But when I started eating natural oatmeal with JoJo, it helped a whole lot more. Now, I get my natural oatmeal from Mom's. It's a natural grocery store called Mom's. And it's organic and everything. And they have the best apple cinnamon oatmeal. I'll put it somewhere on the screen. And I love it. Okay? And it's so good. And I cannot go back to regular oatmeal now that I've had that oatmeal. But that oatmeal definitely helped my breast milk come in even more, like full grown. Then, the third thing, it's called Milkmaid. Let me make sure. Milkmaid Natural Tea. And it's by EarthMamaAngelBaby, which is online at the website, which I also have down in the description box. But you can also, I've recently been seeing the tea in organic stores and in CVS and stuff like that. So they're now branching out, so it's easier to get, which is awesome, because I had to order mine offline and wait for it. Now this tea, it is good. It's not nasty. Number 1. Okay, it's not nasty tea. You can add some sugar, you can add some honey, you can add whatever you want to put into it to make it a little sweet, and drink that tea. Because I like sweet tea, so there's no way I'm drinking bland tea, okay? But when I say this stuff, it helped my boobs so much with production. I was drinking that tea like probably every morning. I would go to sleep and wake up and my whole shirt in the bed would be wet. I had to pull back on how much tea I was drinking. I was like, okay, I'm not trying to cause an overflow. But this tea is awesome, okay? I would totally recommend this tea to any mom who wants to produce their milk flow and keep it up and keep it in a natural way. This tea is completely natural and it's the bomb. In the description box, I'll put a link to it. And I also, on their website, on EarthMamaAngelBaby, they have a kind of pamphlet that you can download that's all about breastfeeding, and they give you, you know, the different herbs you can take, you could take, the herbs you shouldn't take, the things you should do, you shouldn't do. It's a great source of information for someone who wants to increase their milk flow, keep it up the natural way, and to not make it painful for yourself, okay? The easiest way. But I would totally recommend that tea. Now, I did these 3 things in conjunction with each other. So I was expressing milk in the shower. I was eating that oatmeal probably once every couple of days, like whenever I got the feel. Sometimes 3 days in a row, sometimes not. Normally for breakfast, you know. I was just sparingly getting it up there. And drinking that tea every morning because I like tea. I like to drink tea. So these 3 things kept my milk, like I did not. I went out of town, pumped while I was out of town, came back, and my milk flow was still beasting. Like there was nothing stopped it. It was still going. So totally doing that. Now, that's just about everything I have to say about breastfeeding. If you have any questions, comments, anything, please leave them down below. I will answer every question. We can definitely make this an open conversation about it, you know. Breastfeeding, like I said, I'm very passionate about it. So if you have anything you want to ask me, tell me, suggest to me, anything, I am down to hear it, baby, okay? So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you in my next one. Until next time, peace and happiness.